Hi friends, I've been playing New Vegas lately and it's really showed me the importance of creating powerful allies. So in order to raise my fame stat with Henry Cavill and Amazon, I'll be embarking on the 40k Pitches Part 2 side quest. I don't know how far the show the Amazonians and Agent Argyle are, but I'm sure after hearing these bangers they'll scrap whatever nonsense they have and replace it with one of these. Alright, to start, let's talk about a family of vain, egotistical, narcissistic, generally mean spirited jerks who all technically have different personalities but are pretty much the same under the surface. A group of big characters who often have fights and drama that people just love to see. Give it up for the Kardashians. I mean, the Primarchs. The Primarchs are all basically one big family whose drama led to the worst 10,000 years of human existence, so I guess, yeah, they are the Kardashians. And I think a reality show type thing would actually be pretty interesting, and it would be a cool way to explore the various personalities and motives of the Primarchs. There's so much interpersonal drama and interesting relationship dynamics to be milked from the 18, 9? Yeah, I think 9 Primarchs. Now, I'm not saying Horus shouldn't be War Master. I think Horus is great, for sure, but Dad definitely has his favorites. I'm not mad though. I am the first Primarch, but it's fine, it's fine. People absolutely love to get glimpses into crazy people's lives, and they also love to feel secondhand richness from celebrities. Primarchs fulfill both of these very well. Primarchs are some of the biggest drama queens in all of Warhammer, and most of them presumably live relatively opulent lives as the Emperor's sons. Additionally, a show like this would be a pretty interesting way to get to see some more mundane aspects of these larger-than-life demigods. Like, I'd love to see Vulcan cook some toast for breakfast or something. Like, just imagine how funny it would be to see the Primarchs talking about major events in 30k like they're just some relatively mundane drama. Like, Horus betraying the Emperor and damning the Imperium is just like he got a girlfriend they didn't really approve of or something. Ugh, yeah, Horus has been acting pretty weird lately since his little boo-boo. He is such a drama queen. Or like the Istvan dropsite massacre being just a mean-spirited prank. Yeah, we're gonna get emo boy shiny hands at Vulcan so hard. Or even just like them arguing and heckling each other would be really interesting to watch. I heard that the Khan bangs his ships. Well, you bang your sons. What? No, I don't. I'll kill you! No, you wouldn't. Next up, let's continue milking the obsessive Primarch simping in the fandom and talk about a Guilliman show. Guilliman is hands down one of the most interesting characters in the present setting, period. He woke up from a 10,000 year nap into the exact thing he dedicated his entire life to preventing. He is faced with a broken, backwards Imperium that he desperately wants to change. A show exploring Guilliman's disappointment with the modern day Imperium and his desperate attempts to repair it, but not being able to exact much meaningful change would be absolutely fascinating. So, let's give him a Kitchen Nightmares-esque show where he goes around and tries to fix the abhorrent state of the Imperium. Much like how Gordon Ramsay goes around being pissed off and shocked with the restaurant's horrible, horrible kitchen practices, Guilliman would be pissed off and shocked about the horrible, horrible administration and politics of the current day Imperium. Just imagine him going around and yelling at corrupt governors or incompetent bureaucrats about how they're a bunch of little morons ruining the Imperium and disgracing his father's vision. He can get into some epic yelling matches, violent sound effects playing, and he can have some funny and heartwarming moments showing the governor's change of heart. Or perhaps the loss of their heart if they're a bit too bullheaded. I just can't deal with these fucking politicians. I wake up from the worst nap of my life to these fucking donkeys ruining my father's Imperium, his vision for the future. They are an insult to the bureaucracy community. He wants me to what? No, Primarch or not, I will not install Excel, and I most certainly will not stop stomping babies. I will do what I must in order to run this planet. Plus, honestly, Guilliman kind of looks like Gordon Ramsay anyways. Okay, let's move away from the Imperium and talk Xenos. Orcs, they would make such a fun TV show. They see themselves as a bunch of goofy goobers looking for a good scrap in the big old galaxy. Having a show from their perspective would just be a great time. Just a bunch of hooligans going across the galaxy having the time of their lives. Additionally, I think it would be pretty fun to play into the Orcs' perceived goofiness and have it be like some Looney Tunes or Tex Avery style ridiculous animation. That would be really fun to see. Just like go full on meme mode, have the orcs have their stupid unlimited imagination nonsense and cartoon physics. Then have some like insane slapstick shenanigans as they wreak havoc across the galaxy. Then, in the last episode, imagine like an orc is like winding up a Popeye punch or something silly, and then out of nowhere, it switches to the perspective of a guardsman, and suddenly it's live action, it's super dark and gritty, the orcs are absolutely brutalizing the poor guardsman, and it's just some like horrific violence going on. This would be such a funny switch up, as well as showing the dichotomy of the orcs' perception of themselves and how horrifying they actually are. Okay, back to the Imperium. Sorry. But hear me out. I think it'd be really cool to have a show focused on the Adeptus Custodes. Television Custodes, if you will. I have two wacky ideas, so this is kind of a 2-for-1 deal to make up for all the Imperium simping in this video. Okay, first pitch. A show focusing on the Blood Games. The Blood Games are an exercise that the Custodes do in order to test the Imperial Palace's defenses. They intentionally try to assassinate the Emperor in various ways to hopefully find any holes in the palace's defenses and sharpen their peers to would-be attackers. So, naturally, let's make this into a game show. It would be so absolutely ridiculous and funny to watch the Custodes talk about their zany plans for competing in the Blood Games. Yeah, so I recently learned about something called a hydrogen bomb, so I'm going to use that in this year's Blood Games. However, I do know that that's no threat to my peers, so it's just a distraction, tee-hee-hee. While my peers are investigating said hydrogen bomb explosion, I will swiftly sneak into the Emperor's chambers, whip out this old world tool called a 44 Magnum, and, as the ancients said, pop a cap in dear old dad. And now for pitch number 2, this one is also pretty silly. It would be an office-style Custodes show that just has the Custodes doing their day-to-day duties and getting into some wacky hijinks here and there. Imagine talking heads of the Custodes just talking about their day-to-day, and it could be a dry humor masterpiece. Ah yes, today was quite exciting. I stood guard in front of the throne room for all 24 hours. It was euphoric. I wish I could have Tim's job. I just never see any action. And I'm also just now realizing this is basically a knockoff Emperor Text-to-Speech, so let's pivot and make this pitch an Emperor Text-to-Speech reboot. In a perfect world, GW would have a change of heart, apologize to Alpha Busa, give him an animation budget, reduce their mini prices by 20%, and create the most fun non-canon romp in all of 40k. But realistically, this would never happen, so we can all just stop thinking about that. Alright, finally, pitch number 5. All of these past pitches have been somewhat goofy, but I think this last one would unironically be the best approach for the Amazon show. 40k is such a vast and rich setting with a myriad of interesting factions, so I don't think a show just focusing on one faction can truly give the universe justice. I think that 40k needs an anthology show. It would be the best way to represent the franchise, and it would be pretty kick-ass. Ideally, each episode would visit a different war front and give a different faction the spotlight. Most Amazon shows have like 8 one-hour episodes, and I think this would be enough time to tell a satisfying little story. Some episodes could even just be an hour-long cool battle sequence. With 8 episodes, you could realistically touch on every faction, especially since there'd be at least 2 of them fighting, and then most factions tend to work with at least one other faction. My dream 8-episode lineup would have episode 1 following a Khazarkin kill team trying to complete a dangerous operation and slowly getting picked off. Episode 2 would be set during the Octarius War and display the orcs first getting assaulted by the Tyranids and leading to a very cool battle. Episode 3 would follow a Terminator squad trudging through a space hulk looking for artifacts and facing the horrors within. Episode 4 would be a horror episode focused on someone trying to survive a chaos invasion with demons and space marines. And then episode 5 would explore an Eldar going through the process of becoming an aspect warrior, with the climax being him just absolutely kicking ass. Episode 6 would explore a Necron overlord waking up and trying to deal with his waning sanity and lost glory. Then episode 7 would follow an Imperial Freeblade going around the Imperium completing tasks in order to restore his lost honor. And then finally, in episode 8, it would focus on Farsight breaking off from the Tau Empire and establishing his own enclave. Now, obviously, I don't know how big the Warhammer show's budget would be, and some of these episodes would probably be restrictively expensive to make, but I do think that an anthology series would be a really cool way to explore the different nooks and crannies of the 40k universe, and it would just be a really awesome experience for all the fans. And then a little spin that I personally would really love, but I highly doubt would ever happen, would be that this anthology show would be in the style of Genndy Tartakovsky's 2003 animated Clone Wars. I think that show's pulled off a lot of 40k elements surprisingly well, even though it obviously wasn't trying to. First off, the large-scale battles in that show were pulled off excellently. And then next, the power of the Jedi was turned to like 11 and conveyed super well. They had extreme speed, they're super powerful, and they were destroying armies by themselves. That was awesome to watch. And then finally, the animation just looked super awesome all around. Honestly, I think that animation is the best way to convey the scale and power of 40K universe. Some things honestly just don't translate to live action as well as animation, or would honestly just be impossible to pull off with a non-Star Wars or Marvel budget. And with that, those are some of my 40K television pitches. I know a lot of them were pretty silly, which honestly shouldn't be surprising if you know the channel at all. But under the goofiness, I do think that there are some unironically good ideas. Like, I'd love to see the Blood games getting explored more, or having a show focusing on Gilliman's struggles in the 41st millennium. So please tell me what you thought about the video. Let me know if you have any cool pitches of your own, or let me know what episode you would want in your own 40K anthology series. Also, please, oh please do not think I'm a 40K pitch channel. I just had some silly ideas that I wanted to get down, and there most likely won't be another pitch episode for quite a while. And as always, please like, comment, subscribe, and consider sharing with your most powerful allies. Thanks. And next week I'll probably talk about some blue fish goat things, so stay tuned.